I want to show you some of our congressional leaders. And this happens on both sides. Harry Reid. Harry Reid was elected to the Senate in 1986 for serving 4 years in the House. When he entered the Senate, he was worth, and believe me, I'm a capitalist. I don't care how much you're worth. More the merrier, brother. He was worth 1.8 when he entered the Senate. How much was he worth 2 years ago? How's your 401k doing? Nancy Pelosi. She was elected to Congress in 1987. 2 years later, her estimated worth was $7.5 million. Today, $21.7 million. How is it that these people are getting rich? How is it? How is it a guy who served honorably? This guy served honorably. When he was in service of his country, he served honorably. How did he leave the service making this kind of wage and go right directly to Congress, and now he can afford a vacation home that he doesn't even pay taxes on? How did that happen? How did that happen? We have to cut our budgets. We have to. In the book Broke, I outline budget cuts. And one of them that is controversial is I take on the Department of Defense. And the reason why I did it is because it's easy for me to write a chapter on how we need to shut off NPR. I could write that one in my sleep. I needed to be able to show you that the thing I care most about is the defense of our nation. And we can make intelligent cuts. We can make them without hurting our defense and without hurting people. We can actually help people. John Boehner said that if he becomes House Speaker, he's going to fly back and forth from his home to Washington on commercial airlines. Nancy Pelosi had to use a military aircraft, and I don't care. For security, we do what we have to do. Here's the thing with Boehner. If he's flying commercial, he'll fight hard against the naked scanners at the airport that nobody wants. Maybe we should have the naked scanners in the halls and the meeting rooms of the halls of Congress. What do you think? I commend him for spending less. And anyone who yells at him or calls him a dope while he's at the airport, well, then I guess he'll just have to chalk it up as a slight wound in the service of his country. And he certainly will not receive more wounds than these guys possibly will. This is a step in the right direction. But here's what I'd like to propose. And I would like to ask you to take this on. You make the difference. These guys in Washington could not say no. They couldn't say no to this. Congressmen, here it is, congressmen shall not be paid more than those who are currently serving on the front line of duty. They shall never make more than that. There's no reason why congressmen should be able to enrich themselves, make more than a guy who is on the front lines fighting, somebody who's in a tank right now, somebody else who's risking his life to save a child in another country. Are you kidding me? There is no justification for congressional salaries. None. Demand Congress lower their salaries and their benefits to the same benefits offered to our soldiers, period. I'm going to take it a step further. Federal employees should not be allowed to ever make more than this. Ever. Last year, the average household income, $49,000. It's up to $50,000 now. You know what? Congress should only get raises, and people in the federal government should only get raises if the citizens get raises. Members of Congress should never make more than the people who die on our battlefields. Congress, I know you've got a lot of special perks. Your medical care should be exactly the same that the VA hospital gives out. You are in the service of your country. If you don't like it, then maybe you should offer benefits that are a little better at the VA hospitals. Oh, and there's one more thing. They're not going to like it because they have to keep two homes. Oh, Congress, I've got that solved for you. I'm more than happy, and I know people, maybe Habitat for Humanity will come and help build barracks for you to live in. Back in a minute. I'm gonna stop giving my political opinion here in a second, because even if these guys hated my opinion and hated my guts, and they might, they wouldn't be able to. I mean, they can't respond. So it's not really fair to them. So I'll shut up about politics here in a minute. But I want to just go back to this for a second, because I really think there is something here for you, the American people. You want to send a message of stop spending money. This is one of those things where they can't hold up little sick puppy dogs and go, yeah, but if we do that, little puppy dogs die. They can't do that. Because what this is all about is cutting the congressional pay. All these fat cats will freak out. And they can't say no. If you rose up and you went to Congress and you said, basic congressional pay, and you get all the same benefits and everything else, you get it at the VA hospital. Oh, you know what's going to happen? Either they're going to raise the pay of our soldiers through the roof, and they'll make sure the VA is state of the, because they're not going to walk into a VA hospital. Really? Really? You think Barney Frank is going to walk into a VA hospital? Or they're going to cut theirs. Which do you think is better? I think a combination of the two, quite honestly. Cut their salaries. You can rise up and make that happen. Now, it was Veterans Day yesterday. And here in New York, the soldiers were here. The veterans had a parade. And I'm always interested to see New Yorkers, especially those on Central Park South, react to the military. But it's funny, because even those who don't like the military, oh, we're just so whatever. Even those people, they're the first ones to stand on their roof with signs saying, help, help, help. Our troops are amazing. They're fighting our wars overseas in spite of what we're doing in Washington. They're fighting those wars, and they're fighting them honorably. But not a lot of attention is given to them, and not a lot of thanks is given to them for what they do for us here at home. Brave men and women, they do so many things in our basic lives every single day. I don't think most of us even realize. You will now. Take a look.
We can thank our U.S. military for a whole lot more than fighting our wars, keeping us safe, and defending our freedom. Since this country was born, members of the armed forces have helped build and maintain our infrastructure and made America what it is today. Great war heroes like General George Meade of Gettysburg fame built a string of lighthouses up and down the East Coast in the 1800s, many of which are still standing. He also surveyed the Great Lakes. Other soldiers during that time helped construct the Transcontinental Railroad and open up the Wild West. The Army Corps of Engineers helped complete the Washington Monument and helped construct the Lincoln Memorial and the Library of Congress. When there is a natural disaster in America, you saw them rescuing victims of Hurricane Katrina from rooftops and shuttling others on the ground to safety. Since 1947, U.S. Marines have been delivering toys to tots. Others read to children in schools or teach them sports. In Alaska, some Army troops help transport doctors to Eskimos in hard-to-reach towns. When the BP oil rig exploded in the Gulf last spring, it was the U.S. Coast Guard that was there searching for the missing and rescuing the survivors. When a cruise ship was stranded at sea this week, sailors aboard the USS Ronald Reagan arrived with food and supplies. And if it weren't for the military bases in America, who knows the state local economies would be in. Take Robbins Air Force Base in Georgia, for example. It's the largest employer in the entire state, with more civilians working there than service members. The military also excels at educating its own. When the troops return back to civilian life, most return to society smarter, wiser, more responsible, and with a deeper appreciation and love for their country. The next time you see a service member, you make sure you approach them. Please, approach them and say 2 simple words. Thank you.
I am, for the next few weeks, I'm going to start moving into what I call the trilogy of holidays. And on Fridays, you are going to see the news of the day and different ideas, and you're also going to hopefully experience some gratitude. We've got a lot to complain about, but we have even more to be thankful for. And this isn't just like, okay, I get it, good news. No, no. We have to know what is of value to us. And one thing that is of true value to me is our servicemen and women, and what these guys go through, and how society treats them. I remember I worked with a Vietnam vet years and years ago, and he was very proud of his service. He was really good at what he did, but when he got back, all kinds of names, all kinds of stuff. And he was sitting in a job interview, and he said, after he got back from Vietnam, and they said, well, where have you been? And he said, well, I was in Vietnam, sir. And the guy was looking at his resume and went, oh, sorry about that. And that really offended him. And he said, I am not. And I remember, because he was a wreck when I met him, and I thought, and I am never going to be a part of society that does that to people who we've asked to serve. So I am very grateful for everything that you guys are about to do. You 5 here in the front, you guys are from, you're seniors, you're getting ready to graduate, and do you know where you're going from here yet? Did you get your papers? Not yet. Any thoughts on where you're going? Anything that in particular?
We just found out our branches of the Army on Sunday, sir, and we'll find out in February exactly where we're going to be stationed. Yeah.
Now, I notice Benjamin and Brendan have like ribbons and stuff on their chest, and Ryan, you have stars up here, and many others don't. I mean, do you feel, I mean, really, honestly, I think you're making the rest of everybody feel bad. Can't you share? What do the ribbons mean, Brendan? What is on your chest?
They're just these. This one right here is I went to a 4-week flight school program at the University of North Dakota, and then this is just based off a ranking system at West Point, so top 20.
You don't rank people, do you? This is crazy talk. I can see why so many people just dislike all the hatred here. Help me out on because there's nobody here that could have signed up for military service prior to 9/11. You all did it afterwards. You all see what's coming. Who signed up the most recent? Who's done it in the last, what, 2 years? Where? The last 2 years? Why? Why did you sign up right here in second row? Second one in, second row this way. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yes, right here.
We love our country, sir, and anything to do our duty. You join up and you fight for your country.
But what is it that made you, I mean, have you watched the news lately? What is it that made you say, yeah? I mean, what specifically? Is there anything specific?
I wouldn't say so, sir. It's a love of country.
Aaron?
Sir, each of us has our own reason for joining. You know, it's individual, it's based on the individual, and I can say me personally, I'm just grateful for how I grew up, and really I just want to share that with future generations. You know, freedom's not free, and somebody's got to fight for it. So everybody can fight or can serve their country in their own way. And I think all of us can agree that this is ours.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. You know, I used to think that everybody had to be, you know, if you were going to serve your community, you know, you had to be at the soup kitchen, and you don't. There are other ways. Everybody has their own role. Like, I'd wet my pants if I were you guys. I really would. Somebody starts shooting at me. I don't know. You've seen Saving Private Ryan? I'm the kid who's on the stairs going, that's me. But we all